Hi, I'm Jason and welcome to First Super's mid-year investment update. I'm here with First Super CEO Bill Watson, who will be looking back on how the fund performed during the 2023-2024 financial year. So welcome, Bill. Could you tell us firstly about First Super's investment performance for the past financial year?
Thanks, Jason. I'm really pleased to say we saw positive returns for all of our investment options in 23-24. All of our super and retirement options, other than the super cash option, exceeded their long-term and yearly return targets. Our balanced option delivered an 8.87% return for super members this year and a 9.71% return for retirement members. These results are better than many larger funds.
That's fantastic, Bill. So it was a particularly good year for the share markets. Can you tell us a little bit more about how First Super have invested in shares?
Both Australian and international share markets did really well last year. Our investments in international shares performed better than Australian shares, which was slightly below our target. Our balanced option had less money in shares compared to some other funds because we chose a more cautious approach last year. However, this didn't have an impact on our overall performance. And while we had less in international shares, the shares that we did hold performed well, which made a big difference. We also took steps to protect investments in international shares against foreign currency movements, and that's known as hedging. Having less money invested in Australian shares also had little impact on our overall investment returns. In July 2024, we invested more money into Australian and international shares, and this takes our allocation in both markets to reflect our long-term strategic investment strategy. And as always, we continue to monitor investment performance.
So outside of shares, what else drove our strong returns?
Australian infrastructure delivered solid returns, slightly above the sector performance benchmark, as did Australian private equity. However, this was significantly lower than returns for both these asset classes in the last two financial years, which had boosted performance in those years. Australian fixed interest and floating rate debt also drove returns, but international infrastructure didn't meet its performance target due to higher interest rates, inflation, and asset-specific valuations. Our Australian property investments, which are geared towards offices, didn't meet their targets. Investors still have a negative outlook about Australian property because of post-pandemic working patterns have reduced their use. But on a positive note, retail property held up well, but we had less money invested in this sector.
So looking forward, what's our investment outlook for the next 12 months and what can our members expect from their super?
Hard to predict, but what we saw in August was the share market got shaky because of worries about a possible US recession. But that started to improve since then. And that really shows how quickly things can change in share markets. Right now, the outlook for Australian property isn't great, but it might start to improve by mid to late 2025. We expect interest rates to go down in 2025, but this will probably happen in other countries before Australia. If inflation keeps falling, share markets might continue to do well, even though they're at an all-time high. Lower interest rates and moderating inflation also help make property and infrastructure more valuable. However, ongoing conflicts in the Middle East, Russia, Ukraine and Eastern Europe could affect the markets if they get worse, but it's hard to predict. Remember, it's normal for investments to go up and down, and it's important to think long-term when planning for your retirement.
So finally, Bill, what would you say to our members who have further questions about their investments?
Pretty simply, we're here to help. If you've got any questions about your investments or generally, contact us. You can pick up the phone to our member services team and you won't be waiting long. Or you can ask to speak to one of our financial planners, just like you, Jason, and there's no extra charge for you to discuss your First Super investments with an expert. And you can also track your account and investments through our mobile app.
Thanks, Bill. And thanks for joining us today. Look forward to providing you another investment update in due course.